Welcome to the Captain Max Steel Show. Captain Max Steel is also known as Max 21D. Intuitive Healer, Akashic Records, your galactic race soul family. Those who guide you, those who protect you. Past lives on Earth and elsewhere in the universes. Max 21D performs remote viewing, deactivating chips and codes or programming, raising the vibrations and healing this great planet. We are co-creating a better reality. You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Max Steel Show. We have a great guest today. His name is Andrew Hodge. He's from Australia, a great, good friend of mine for many years. Well, we can say forever anyway, but he'll be here. He's here now, but I'll be talking to y'all for a little bit. I want to thank the people in the chat room and also the people around the world that are listening to me. And I want to send a special thank you for a very important person out there in the news that he's doing a great job. I've never done it this way before, but I want to thank the person named Q. The person named Q, thank you for all you're doing out there for humanity and mankind. I really thank you from all my heart to yours. Send much love to you and keep up the good work, what you're doing. Now, I wanted to talk to, just for a moment. Yesterday, I was actually meditating here, and then sometimes I meditate with my eyes open. And I don't know if you can do it. I know I can, but I do it once in a while. It puts me in a very deep consciousness. And I have received a message from a race called the Sasani race. It's a race that is 500 light years from Earth, and they're half human and they're hybrid humans. Okay, and they communicated with me yesterday and told me a lot of things that the people that from Earth needs to do. So they taught me a lot of things. They put a lot of information in my head, and they sent me some symbols. Sean, put it back in the Wolf Spirit Radio chat room again. Put the symbols. These symbols, if you look at them, there are 15 symbols. These symbols will bring the RV. Okay? You just need to put the symbols in the right combination. So it will be able to bring the RV in. So there it is right now in the chat room. Look at it. And you'll see in what combination that you need to put it. Sean, do you remember the combination that I put it in? Because I did it kind of fast. Do you remember?
I have it, Max.
Go ahead and talk. You don't remember?
I gotta look at it.
I have it, Max.
You have it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's number 1 is unlock. Number 2 is transform. Number 3 is flow. Number 4 is connect, or correct. I'm saying it's connect.
Yes.
And number 5 is manifest. And number 6 is receive.
Now you see why it comes down into the number 6. Why does number 6 mean?
Harmony.
Number 6 is harmony? Mm-hmm. Correct. But in the other term on the other side, it's the numbers they use always against us. But this is the way it's called now. Harmony. 6 is harmony. But you don't use the harmony in these in the RVs. This is how you do it. Okay? All right. So they communicated with me, and they told me to do certain things, which I will do. And I'm going to have a session, private individuals that wants the new transformation that we need for us to activate our abilities in our bodies. It is a communication between the organs. The organs is not just that does the different things in our body. The organs has a secret. It's a mystery. It's a communication of consciousness and knowledge. It's all part of that. Up to just recently, we didn't know all these stuff. We didn't know these things. And now they taught me these things. And not only that, I knew about them also, but I just never did go into it. And now my mind is activated and open to it. I'm able to help you and bring these abilities that have been hidden from us. And now we can unlock it together. If you're interested in a session, it's a lot less than what I normally use. So if you like a session with me, I will activate these new frequencies and these symbols in you to activate your abilities. So you'll be able to control your consciousness and open all the knowledge that you should have had thousands of years ago. And not only that, it will open communication with your star people, your star family. It will automatically activate it directly to them. To your, also the session will cover also the activation of the different frequencies that you come from. Every time I do somebody, do a session with them with the activation of the organs, which would send a signal of lights. It works not just with frequencies. It opens with different colors, different communication. It's a vibration of colors and communication. It's also got frequencies in it. It's hard to explain, but once I get into the session, I'll be able to activate all that. So if you're interested in that, just contact me. Special Forces, FORCES, 1953 at gmail.com. Now, bringing in, I want to thank my producer, Russie Baby, and Regina, bringing in the light, which is Sean. I have Vanessa. I have my warrior sidekick, Little Pony, here. I have my wife, Nicole. I got a big, strong ling of warriors in here. I got Vanessa. She's keeping an eye on me, like always. But anyway, I want to thank you for being on the show. And Andrea, go ahead and unmute yourself. Tell us something about yourself. And I know you've been on my show a long time ago. I think it was back in 2016, I believe. I guess when I was in Canada. And I want to thank you for being on the show. You've been doing really good work with Andrew Bartzis. You're working together with him. And you're working with a lot of good people out there. And I welcome you as my friend and my, I consider you more than just a friend, a family member. Thank you. Come on in, Andre.
Hey, Max. Thanks for having me. Hey, Nicole. Hey, everyone out there. Good evening, good afternoon or morning, wherever you may be. Thanks for having me again, Max. It was actually August last year, but it feels like another lifetime ago, you know.
August.
It was interesting. I was just having a chat before the show because last time Max pretty much got beaten up, and unfortunately Nicole's brother passed away, I think. So it was pretty interesting energy. So hopefully this one will be a bit different.
Well, thank you. I mean, it seemed like more than a year ago that me and you talked.
It feels like it was not in August for some reason. I don't know, maybe we did some kind of time warp or something. It feels like it's been 2 years for me, and it's crazy.
Yeah, it's the same way I feel. It's like more like 2 years, but I don't know. It's just it's because you're on. Let me ask you. He knows what I'm going to ask him. Are the Australians still using the magnets in their shoes?
So Max here is trying to lose all credibility with his perceptions because I've known him for a while, and every time we had a bloody chat, he'd say, "Look, how do you guys stay connected to the Earth? Are your magnets turned on and stuff?" So because we're upside down.
Do you guys get nosebleed because you guys are actually upside down from where we're at, and we're upside. I don't know, we're upside up from you guys.
Maybe the opposite is the true perception. Maybe we're the ones who are upside down.
Hey, I complained to these guys before. I was suffering in 80-degree temperature down here. So if I have to be upside down to deal with that and avoid snow, because I've never seen snow in my life, like I'll deal with the nosebleeds, you know.
Well, we had snow last night here, about 2 inches, which is nothing. But I see it's snowing again, darn it. And we're supposed to get snow again Saturday. And today is March 21st, M21. You know what that means? Max 21D, folks.
Humble Max.
Uncle Max. M21.
No, I said humble Max.
Humble Max. Thank you.
No, but I guess the way this came about was I usually, like these guys said, feels like a long time. I've actually been pretty quiet, pretty hidden. I actually I help Andrew Bartzis quite independently, but because he trusts me. Been going through his information, his old shows. He's done about 1,500 radio shows over the last 5 years, and there's a different direction going with him at the moment. But what I do, because I've been across him, is I go through his old stuff and find the common themes that he talks about, and I put videos together relative to them. And so I've kept my head pretty low, and it's demanding. I do 60 to 80 to 100 hours, depending how I feel, if my body's up for it. Because usually it's about working to exhaustion, then flopping and getting back up the next day. So I don't really interact with a lot of people much anymore. But my instincts were just I don't do just that. That's just one aspect of what I do, and I've known Max for a while. And I was debating whether to be a bit more transparent here, mate, with you. We can see how that feels. I just needed to be on air, you know what I mean? Because you can see forward and backwards in time, and got to cover some angles if I say that to make sure it's okay. Because I'm pretty transparent, and you can get shellacked. So Max speaks in a bit of, he's smart. He's like loose lips sink ships because his background. He knows the consequences of saying things, you know. But he's a bit naughty, but he's naughty when he can afford to be naughty. But what I was saying is that I popped my head up in the chat room a couple of weeks ago, and he saw me, and I just said g'day, because usually I work in this altered state. I live in this lucid state, and I'm pretty routine. And when I get up, and the show your time is when when it finishes is around the time I get up, and I can't really deviate from that because I work until 3 or 4 or 5 in the morning, which is it's a very clear time for me to operate when everyone's asleep and the frequencies are different and the stars are out and stuff. So I just popped my head out, and it was interesting because today is the Equinox, and last time in August when I popped my head up, I actually guard a sacred site down here. Andrew talks about the 200 womb chakras around the world. I actually guard a very, very special one in Australia Adelaide is a very special place. It's built on crystal. For the military sort of people, if you look at our Navy, like we don't have aircraft carriers and stuff. We've got helicopter, like the marine landing deck sort of things. And number one is Adelaide, not Canberra. So symbolically, it's quite interesting. The Navy wouldn't make a mistake, just be blasé and naming Adelaide number one, all right? So there's a lot of military sort of design and construction anchoring in all of Australia in Adelaide, because it's, if you're in 180 kilometres in either direction of a womb chakra, there's a lot of creative energy. Like the purpose of a womb chakra is to create life to seed on other planets. And Earth's been locked down into 3D, where she's meant to actually be 7D. And a lot of us here are actually meant to be the consciousness of new planets, and Earth will seed life on those planets. That's her role. Because she's so attractive, she's the prize in the universe, and that gets very complicated. But so, I mean, an association with the womb chakra is like what's going on in Syria. You know, the whole effort over there is the war. The war is nonsense. But what is really going on is the suppression of Earth, and a very, very pivotal womb chakra that will be like a domino for the rest of the world. So I sort of guard this one. I put crystals in it. I send them all over the world to practitioners, very, very special people. And, as a male in this life, this is a very interesting thing for the male female, is that our role is actually to go out to sacred sites and collect this energy like pollen, and to bring it back to the women, to activate them. Not in a sexual way, it's just an energy transference, because women have built into them the womb like Stargate. So I actually, so what I'm saying is there's a few things going on around me. In the last August show, when it popped up, I went to this womb chakra and I had the energy and stuff. So Max, whether he knows this or not, his instincts were to give me a go in a public light in that time. And this time, once again, I'd actually just been and returned from the womb chakra and collected crystals, and I've got a lot of my crystals around me. So it's a quite random sort of thing, but it's actually pretty cool. I'm probably the best guest for you to have on, mate, especially around Andrew, or the knowledge, the Equinox, which is probably ruffling a lot of people because the energies are quite interesting, and there's just a lot going on. So the wolf spirit, you know, I've been listening to a lot of Andrew's old archives as well, and I really appreciate the dedication that goes on to maintain this avenue, because it's tough these days, you know. Like, you know, you've got to do it on shoestring budgets. Everyone's volunteering, and it's just sheer will to share perspectives, and Wolf Spirit's maintained itself. So for me to be on here with you guys is a privilege, you know. So I thank you, Max.
You're welcome. I want to ask you, Andre, you know, a lot of people talk about, I'm just going to redirect a different direction. A lot of people say that the earth is flat. Well, let's get into that for a moment. Okay. Well, I don't know how can that be flat. The only place that I can think is flat, like Florida. Florida is flat. I used to live in Florida.
Well, let's go back to where that concept came in, mate.
Please clarify that.
Vatican to convince us that it was unsafe to explore. Purely that. So those guys have got a pretty basic game of, you know, influence and stuff. So to me, all it is a re-triggering of that program, right? To mess up the community. That's all it is. And I've got a lot of love for the Vatican, mate.
They're a bunch of idiots anyway.
They're just, well, I mean, you can't, my attitude, right? And this is the core how I operate. Like you operate in the galactic, and a lot of people out there are really fascinated about that. Me, I know, say, operating with Andrew and really investing a lot of time in his information, which I download to my cellular memory. So I get my activation and my perceptions via doing the work with his stuff. And that's what I'm I'm condensing his information into these shows on Saturday or releases to actually accelerate that in people. So that's a hint, okay? You know, you invest a certain amount of time in a teacher, you start deceiving, right? But my position that I hold, I see Earth as such a precious gift in this universe. I'm totally invested in her. That's my role on Earth. I'm not my whole soul. I'm a mass incarnate like most of us. But the thing is, the rules of the reality here is when we go through the birth canal, we're totally wiped. If you understand that concept of being birthed here, no matter who you are, the rule of being in a human skin suit is you're wiped at birth, all right? So then, so like I say, I'm totally invested in it, but there were these people called oral traditionalists that were in the indigenous tribes, and their role was to tune into the history of the earth, all right? The crystal. And they were a target because they could break that disconnect from our understanding. You know, their role was actually to connect us to what our purpose was. So we're all sort of down here and we don't know what our purpose is, and there's a whole group that have a mass understanding of this, and they create things like mystery schools and stuff that teach their generations to bypass that forgetting. So we're playing catch up. They've got a real understanding, but the thing is, there's greater scales of stuff going on. So for me, I realize, like I said, Earth is the prize. So what can I do to serve her? And the key, it gets really simple because there's this thing called the Schumann resonance. And I've listened to a lot of people before, Andrew and stuff, and I actually exhausted this era, like the Bruce Liptons and the Michael Tazarians and stuff. And I went back to the 80s, and people like Andrei Paharich and Robert Beck, and these people, like, you know, the Uri Geller era, which is sort of Max's era, and they used to go around the world and measure the frequencies of the healers and stuff, and from their hands as a healer, all they would emanate is the Schumann resonance, 7.83 megahertz. That's all that they would emanate. So the key for me was like, all I need to do is learn the Schumann resonance. That's all I need to learn. And then what happened was you become in alignment with air in that. I mean, there's techniques, there's hemisync and all that sort of stuff. So if you can actually learn to emanate that frequency, you become a beacon of healing. So to me, that's the simplistic aspect of being in alignment with Earth. And then the perceptions kick in. You're in alignment with Earth, and then she's ready to delegate gifts. You might get tests. You might get opportunities to prove yourself. You know, you might go the lust or the money and stuff like that. And then you actually, you know, I patrol my area. You know, I'm sent out on missions, like whether it's small or massive. You know, so that's I'm just offering that for people if they're lacking direction. There's many things going on, and but if you actually look simply at things, the region where you're at, because you're probably isolated, because you're the anchor for that region, you know, you're probably not going to have many allies. And if we look like history for the last couple of thousand years, we've only had this opportunity to reconnect with each other geographically in the last 20 years, really. So, because of the internet.
I'm going to try something with you.
Max has gone off.
I'm going to try something with you on air right now, live.
All right.
I'm going to project myself right in the same room you're in. But I'm not in front of you. I'm going to stand behind you. Okay? You're going to feel an energy that's going to hit you in the third eye first. And then I'm going to transfer the energy to the back of your head, behind the crown chakra. And I'm going to go down your neck. And I'm going to tap you on both shoulders. I'm going to do this right now. I already prepared you already. Didn't you see me when I was moving my hands and all that just a few minutes ago?
Yeah, what I do is I usually get people to tune in. It's my voice, you know. So Max is going off and Getting triggered, you know, that's what happened.
All right. Okay. I'm going to do it right now.
All right.
I'm going to bring the energy directly through the camera here and exactly where you are in Australia. What time is it over there in Australia now? And what date is it?
It's 5 to 11 a.m. on the 22nd of March,
Okay.
2018.
So it's Thursday there now. Okay. I ain't going to send a message to you. I'm going to send a message. I'm going to put a frequency through the camera here where you can see me. And you're going to feel an energy of the third eye. You're going to feel an energy going to your third eye right now. Okay, hold on a second. Let me get it there. Tell me if you feel anything.
I felt a mid-back, probably a chip. So when you were talking before, I'm pretty quick, so I usually deactivate stuff with people. So,
but you did feel something in your back, right?
Yeah, mid-back. So thanks for that.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a signal that's got to do from where you come from. I'm going to have a signal sent to your third eye that's going to connect you to your star family. It's coming. I feel it. All right.
Yeah, I could already feel the pressure.
Okay. I'm gonna put it inside you. First, can I have permission to continue?
Go for it, mate.
All right. I'm going to put it in you right now. Wait a minute. I need more room. Your people are telling me to put a veil. There's a transparent veil that needs to be put around you to protect you even more.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, Max taught me about setting up an etheric grid around my house and stuff, and I've got many, many layers of defense and
I'm being told that you're connected to the Arcturian people, Arcturus. And I'm being told that these Arcturus are from the 12th dimension, density, very high up. That you're going to acquire more knowledge. It's going to duplicate for you. And your consciousness is going to go skyrocket. You deserve that, my friend. And I give you I give you that as a gift to you.
Thank you very much.
All right, hold on a second. Okay. I've broken out of it. Okay. We can continue now. Now, how is it possible? Can anyone do something like this on Zoom, all the way down under Australia? How is that possible?
There's no such thing as time. There's no such thing as distance. Our energy fields are relative, infinite. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a limit we placed on ourselves. So it was actually a pretty big thing for me because realizing I could actually have an effect on people anywhere, it was a pretty massive thing. So it's just. I guess you give me an opportunity to talk about something I was contemplating bringing up with you, mate. And that's something called the global narrative, all right? So think about those words, global narrative. So one, it's a combination of many things, and this is something Andrew's and I've been talking about and how to bring it up. But if people just observe things that go on in the news and stuff like that, say with our potentials in that instance of what we're talking about, the global narrative, say for psychics and intuitives and stuff like that, is to consistently run it down, to create the perception that there's nothing there. And that narrative, say if you imagine a metaphor of a tire, because I've had to pump up a car tire of late, the consistent effort to maintain the narrative is like air to maintain the tire, it's pressure. So if you don't maintain the narrative, the tire goes down, the air runs out, and it goes flat. So you got to just see the consistent in the reality is that there's a consistent effort to make us feel like we're not much. So the way I work is that I can observe that and I can feel the energy of it, but then I also appreciate that that's just one perspective. And the key for the individual out there is to actually just be able to be okay with that, but not impose a limit on yourself because someone else says it. Because that's beliefs, taking on beliefs. So, yeah, does that sort of help add context, Max?
Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm getting, God, since you've been on here, got incredible things.
Mate, I appreciate what you're saying with the Arcturians and stuff. I'm pretty much, because I'm around Andrew, I'm a broadband upload to, say, the quarantine and everyone out there. And I have to actually maintain my body a lot. It's not easy to be around Andrew. I take that as an enormous privilege to actually be able to maintain myself around him. He's in a different league to anyone out there, and it's no disrespect to anyone such as Max and stuff like that. But it's his role, and we're all on the same team. And that's the key. We can't divide ourselves. And that's why I sort of often say that linguistics, the global narrative, because we've got to sort of get consistent. That's where I feel, because once we start getting consistent in what we're sort of offering, then there's a unity potential. And that's what it's all about. We're all on the same team. You know what I mean? There's so much infighting, and, you know, you'll be able to work out the infiltrators and all that when, you know, you tune into your heart and stuff. But I know this is what I do with people. I trigger people because I'm like an energy anchor, and I've got a lot of soul codes, and Max is getting triggered with me.
You think there's a way that you can contact Andrew Bartzis so I can have him on my show?
I knew you were going to ask, mate. All right.
Well, I never asked you before.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I did?
I can't speak for him, all right? I'm a facilitator of his message.
Well,
but the thing is, all right, this is what's going on with Andrew, and this is why I'm operating with him. He's done 1,500 shows, and to be honest, his impact hasn't really made him a huge thing yet, all right? And he talks about the same stuff all the time. So what I'm doing is say he's done all those 1,500 shows, and I'm putting in all this effort because I've got the stamina to listen to hours and hours and hours and find the parts. The shows I'm making, you imagine a marijuana crop where it's been all picked and it's all been condensed into the medical tar stuff. The shows I'm making are like that, very condensed. And then the hope is that people actually invest the time and they'll get activated because it's their purpose to actually get up to speed, to actually be able to engage with him at that level. But the other thing with Andrew, right, Max, and this is the most people out there, is that he really hasn't engaged with anyone external to his environment, and he hasn't done many shows with anyone else, all right? And he's actually trying to step back a bit, because it's like we've actually tried. My purpose around him is actually to try and just help him feel human, mate. Because he has everyone coming to him all the time. It's like he's Oda Mae Brown in Ghost. And he doesn't get much rest, you know. So there's a lot of demands and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to diminish you or anyone, mate. It's just that's what's going on around here.
Nah, it's okay. Don't worry about it. There's a question for me here. Let me answer. It says, question for Max. Why are the pink streaks in the skies intense color at dawn and dusk? Very simple. Our boys and the galactic friends out there are when they do this, it actually neutralizes the sky. So when they drop in the chemtrails, it doesn't do anything. It's just there. I'm glad you're able to see it. We're not supposed to see it, but you did. Some of you are actually seeing it. These colors and streaks that you see in the sky are, like they say, they're pink. Well, pink is a pretty color for the ladies. Why not? So it's to block the chemtrails from it neutralizes the chemtrails everywhere. That's what I'm surprised people are actually seeing it because it's not supposed to. But some of you are probably connected to these races that are actually doing it. I was told not to say what race, so I'm not going to say it. I've been getting is there a noise coming out of my side here?
No, it's fine. There was a little bit of background noise on Audrey's, but it's kind of died down a little bit. It's okay though.
Because I have the. It might be me because do you hear it now? Okay, I know what that is. It's coming from my side.
I just muted. I muted, so.
It's actually okay. See if you hear it now. You still hear it? Shake your head. No? Okay, it's coming from Andre. Because I thought it was my side because I have the heater on here and the fan kicks in automatic, and I thought maybe that's what you were listening to.
That's what I was going to ask, if it was a fan.
Yeah, I hear it right now.
You hear it right now?
Yes. It is. Andre's muted, so it's coming from you, Max.
Yeah, I kind of figure the fan is on right now. Go ahead and continue to talk. I'm going to mute myself, and I'm going to go turn off the fan so it don't come in through here no more. Okay?
Yeah. I've got something to say, but add on what I said about Earth and stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right?
Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Basically, the pattern recognition sort of person. So I'm sort of just been trying to get into the frequency with Max and being on live. It's a bit different for me. So I'm sort of getting in the zone a bit now, but yeah. I'm processing what I said. What I was going to offer at the start of the show is a good thing for people to do whenever they listen to anyone is actually just imagine you're going into a room and there's a door. Imagine just from a metaphoric state of being is that room is a teaching. And what I'm sort of wanting to invite people to do is when you enter that door and listen to this stuff is that everything you've ever brought into the room, such as preconceptions and beliefs and all that stuff, you leave at the door. And you give yourself a space of everything that you've ever incorporated. Because I see the reality very simply and stuff, and I know a lot of people get triggered because of what they've accommodated via what they've learnt before and stuff like that. So what I'm sort of doing is just to preface what I'm about to say is to offer you a very simplistic look at what's going on in the reality at the moment. I mentioned that thing about the global narrative and stuff like that. The key is how this world is sort of driven in a direction is by our empowerment of what we choose to entertain. Because the consistent effort is to impose on us that we're a limited sort of being and stuff. When in actual fact, being a human being on Earth is actually the most powerful thing to be in the universe. It's the greatest privilege, and in our DNA is the most power, and it's the prize of the universe. So what is actually going on to maintain that control is that there's a lot of events going on around the world. And I mentioned how I guard a womb chakra, and who talks about the 2 to 300, depending where Earth is at. But the war over in Syria has actually locked down a major one. And if that gets broken out, it will be a domino effect to many others around the world. And the direction is a bit up for grabs at the moment. But I know, say, Mount Fuji and Bali and New Zealand and South America and Australia, and they're all connected in that. So these are the sacred sites around the world that are very powerful energy centers, and the only way that they can suppress them is death, trauma, and destruction. So that's why there's this war that doesn't add up. All right, you've got to really look at it. All players are in. You know, back in 2015, there was a terrorist strike in France, and the French sent their navy in with aircraft carriers and stuff. Germans been in there, and Australia, America, Russia. You know, now Israel's doing all this stuff. So there's an all-in effort to suppress that spot. So when you look around the world and there's certain events such as mass shootings or bombings or all this sort of stuff, it's what I'm inviting people to do is actually tune into what's going on Earth at that moment. Because the consistent theme is suppression of her and her energy. So instead of getting caught up in the drama or the emotion of the event, which we do, because some of the things seem pretty unjust and stuff like that, go beyond it and see there's a purpose to it. There's a consistent pattern. So the ingredients of the race or the event, whether it's mass shooting or stuff like that, or, you know, depending on the area in the world, in Australia they can't have war and all that sort of stuff. They have a different recipe. But the consistent theme is suppression of Earth and the sacred sites. So what is happening at the moment is a lot of those things are bubbling to the surface and they're getting revealed because they can't do it in the hidden, all right? And that's where you as an individual can connect to Earth. You know, I suggested learning how to tune into the Schumann resonance, see what happens. So Max has disappeared.
I have a question, Andrew.
You just stepped away for a bit. Go ahead.
Yeah, Andre. Some of the sites around the Earth that are in this wind chakra areas, what would those general areas be? Just so we can get an idea.
Well, a consistent theme is where life is birthed. All right. So say Australia, the Great Barrier Reef, or say the major river systems in the world where they meet the sea, there's a lot of potential for life. So I remember seeing this article a couple of years ago about new species being found in the Amazon where it meets the sea, you know. So I know, say, around Puerto Rico and those sort of areas, you know, like mass life, say, in the sea. A lot of them around the equator as well. So you imagine like a sine wave around the equator. Have a look where a lot of the military bases are around the world as well, you know. They've got a stamp them. So there's a pattern, right? There could be an association with that. So, but the thing for you and me, we're guides, you might be drawn to a location, you know. There might be just this feeling, I need to get out. And what might happen is you don't actually have the answer, but you go somewhere and it's like, oh, this feels really good. And your oversoul has guided you there and Earth has gone, finally he's listening. And you go there and you feel amazing. And then what happens is you get charged up. And all the womb chakra feels like, you feel like a friggin' human being. You feel normal. It's the most normal feeling place that, you know, and you go back into the grid of a city with all the EMF and stuff. I'm not particularly sensitive. Like I'm built that none of that stuff affects me. But when you deal with a high frequency such as Max, it has the potential to sort of limit and cut you off, where it's just a muscle you can build up and not be influenced by any of this stuff, right? But that's, say, from a guy perspective, like a sacred masculine, you might be drawn to, say, go to a location and stuff. Like a lot of people that say get to that basic Schumann resonance sort of in the heartbeat of Earth, like, you know, in dominion with her, they get this drive to go somewhere. You know, it might be Bali or it might be like Athens and stuff like that. So what I'm trying to do is not define it, allow your instincts to guide you. That's the you've got to train that muscle. You know what I mean?
Is there a particular place in the United States that would be very a good place to start if one were on a vacation or that sort of thing, just to kind of get a hint of a couple of spots or something,
Well, I actually went to Andrew Bartzis event 2016, which is up in Seattle, and I actually went and did work up in Vancouver because I do a lot of, not really a lot, but I do some remote work and then set on missions myself. But I know Florida is a region as well. Like there's regions in Florida, so think about where NASA and stuff is. I mean, the Caribbean is an amazing region. You got to think about the history. Sort of a lot of the reason for the major storms, in the Caribbean is that Earth is actually trying to clear past trauma on mass scale, like the slavery and the ghosts and stuff like that. Because haunting's a whole different thing, but that's basically done to create a lockdown, as well. So the storms are actually mass dehauntings. Sorry, I've got a cough.
Question.
Yeah. Okay, hold on a second. Regina, that question up there, I guess that will be for Andre. Go ahead and read this for a moment.
A member of MJ12 said on a show that there are as many universes as grains of sand on Earth and a cold, dark sea around the universes. Didn't say what it represented because it would change us forever. Any idea what that is?
That could be possible. I know from operating with Andrew, you said there were 17 universes and the 18th was created. Sorry, I've got tickle in my throat. And what the 18th, from what I know, was created about February 2016. And so if you take a step back, what's going on in Earth and that it's been sort of invaded on the incarnation level. And that 18th was created for these guys to avoid galactic recycling. All right. They've had a sandpit created for them. You need to leave our universe if you're going to do what you're doing, or you get recycled. And I've been a part of that. All right. So I don't know this other stuff, but I trust Andrew, even though I can't perceive it all. I've done enough discernment to actually accept what he says. Like, he doesn't speak from trying to drive people in the wrong direction, So that's just my perspective.
I was just listening the other day about within our universes, there's universes within our own universe. We're not even talking about outside of our universe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exponential, I think.
That's where I'll say earlier on, I was totally invested in Earth, and Max is trying to connect me off Earth, right? So the stuff that's going off, not here. I mean, you gotta drop the 3D perspective when you're dealing with other dimensions. It's just
exactly
it's crazy, So that's where I just stay focused on Earth in the 3D because I try and master that because that's the hardest environment to operate in. You know what I mean? Look, I heard, that show that I tuned into, a lot of people wanting to check out and stuff like that. And there was a show I did recently because I know that there are a lot of people feeling that way. And I released at the start of a show I did for Andrew called Regions of the World Part 8. And it's the first 15 minutes of that is about a checkout imprint in people because they will actually want us, the most aware, to check out because we're the ones that, you may not feel like you're not contributing, but you just holding the understanding of this information, it adds to the morphogenic field, which makes it easy for the next layer to come through. It's harder for us because we're the few, but that's where I'm saying the global narrative, and I don't want to use that sort of language because that's sort of like the Russian issue, which is just constantly being pumped up and that. There's another narrative, which is the truth, all right? Because once you get to the truth, you can't be influenced by the narrative. You know it. It is what it is. I mean, we might have variances on what I said there or anything, but the consistent theme is that we know there's something more than just this reality, this earth, all right? And if you know that, it's not belief. Belief is something that you acquire from someone else's experience. If you trust in your own knowingness, it's you hold that.
Okay, let me say something here. Okay. Because, I come from the 17th universe. But everything in the 17th universe is not what people seem that it is. There are many, the density. The density and the dimension are two different things. Okay? To a normal person, it means the same. Okay? The density. Yeah, I come from the 17th universe. But the 21st dimension, that's where my people are at. Now, I accept what you said so far about Andrew Bartzis, about what you said about the 18th universe, all that. But I'm going to clarify that a little bit more. There are higher dimensions than that, much higher. Now, I think it was like a year ago, Nicole, when I was doing it. There were several people. Actually, I did it on Skype. I didn't do it on Zoom. I didn't have Zoom. I only had been in Zoom for a year and a half. I think it happened about a year and a half ago. Okay, when I did it on Skype. I believe Lucy was there. And you, Nicole, and somebody else was there. And I think it was Jessica Morocco. I'm not really sure. But I was taken into a further dimension. I went into the future as far as I could go. I didn't care if I was going to blow up into a million pieces. But somehow I got protected. And I went higher into the dimensions. Now, I'm not exaggerating or making things up, but slowly I was taken into the 417th universe. To the 417th dimension. As I was flowing into higher dimensions, I didn't go, like you say, you can't go in human body, but I did go in spirit and soul. I went in spirit and soul as far as I could go. And for a fact that the spirit and soul is infinity. It has no measurements of how many times you can live in another body structure. It doesn't matter. But if you go in spirit and soul, you can go very far away in dimension. Now, for some reason, this is actually, that would be my second time, okay? That, because I am a son, my father is a prime creator from where I come from. And, every universe has a different prime creator. It does. And there are always, all these prime creators communicate with one another. And because I was chosen to come to Earth, plus I also volunteered for it, because none of my brothers wanted to come here. Only a couple had been here. So I came and I'm here on a mission. Like everybody else, there's a lot of people here that's on missions from everywhere else in the universe, many universes. Somehow, somehow when I went into the future, in my spirit and soul, I left and went into a way far distanced dimension. And somehow I stopped. I start to slow down around 387 dimensions. And I finally slowed down to 417. I stopped there. this bright energy grabbed me and pulled me into a different portal, vortex, and I was pulled into that vortex. A lot of things start to happen to my spirit and soul. More knowledge and more consciousness was flowing in my mind here on Earth as I was in the future. And a lot of stuff was coming in very strong in colors, vibration, lights, and symbols. And as soon as I got to the other side, I broke loose. It was like a round floating vortex, but not horizontal. It was actually, it's vertical. And I came out the other side. There was a bright light in there. It was a round half moon crystal lighting that was inside in the center. And it was communicating with me. And the light was gold, very bright light. And I was really not able to look into it because it was just too bright. And it started talking to me and started telling me all kinds of different things. And it told me that what I was going to do for the future of this planet was going to be something very different than is not done before. I asked, what is it? And all I heard was sound, communication of sounds and frequency and all kinds of different things. And then it told me that I had to return. And I came back slowly into the lower dimensions. As I went by the 21st dimension, where I come from, I saw that go right by me. And I wanted to say hello, but I couldn't. But I had to keep going. But anyway, it pulled me back to Earth, to the third dimension. Now, I know there are higher dimensions out there. It's much probably higher than 417 that I went to. When I came back into my body, my 3D body that I'm using now, I found this vibration and very strong energy around me. It took me days to get used to it. And then it just came clear what I had to do, but I can't talk about that because it's not time yet to speak about it. I'm going to tell you something also. I got 3 minutes left. Okay. What I want to tell you that there are two three-dimensional worlds that we're living in now. There's two of them. One on top and one on the bottom. The low level, third dimension, and the higher level of the third dimension. The high level third dimension is what we are in now, right now. The people that at the higher consciousness, the awakened people, the people that are awakened right now, they're in the high third dimension. And the low dimension is the people that are not awakened. They live the slave life. We're coming out of that right now. We are now able to bring the reality that we want to live. As soon as we bring that in, then we'll go into the fourth. We're actually 1 foot in third and 1 foot in the fourth dimension. Okay? Some of us are doing that now. But some of us, it's a projected, it's like a hologram. It's a projected of third, fourth, and fifth. Some of us are doing that right now. The problem is that the third dimension, we've been in the third dimension so long that the third dimension does not want to let go of us. It wants to keep us here. But we need to release that. And you got to find a way how. You got to release yourself from the third dimension. It's pulling you. It's like pulling on a rope, one to the right, one to the left. It's like that, back and forth. And you got to cut that rope and release yourself from it. Until you don't do that. Go ahead.
Going into the unknown. Because you don't know what's on the other side because you're so comfortable with what you know. It's like I used the metaphor of the movie Shawshank Redemption when the old guy, he got freed from the prison and he hung himself, and they're sitting there going, why the hell did he do it? Because Morgan Freeman goes, he was institutionalized because he was so familiar with that reality, he couldn't handle being on the other side of it. But the potential is there. The potential is from letting go. So, it just takes a bit of courage of going into the unfamiliar.
Yeah. Okay, we got to go to the break. We'll be right back, folks. Stay tuned to Andrew Hodge and Crazy Max. Now I'm going to eat me some popcorn.
Yeah, go take a break,
on Spirit Radio.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome back to the Max Steel Show with my interviewee, Andrew Hodge, my guest. I was talking about dimension, all that stuff. I think I should share that story. What I was talking earlier here with my friends. It happened last year. I was outside and I saw this plane really low, and I saw these bunch of black stuff coming out the rear of the plane. I didn't give it much thought, but I didn't like what was going on. It felt kind of not welcome. So I'm in my scooter outside, and I got as fast as I could inside the house, which I did. And just a little bit while I was sitting here, I saw something flying about the size of probably about a small cracker. Okay. And I hit it with my hand. It felt solid. Then I stepped on it, and it felt like I was, when I stepped it with my foot, it felt like I was squishing a cracker. You know how you step on it, it goes like that. Well, it did that. And when I brought it closer, it looked like a miniature drone. Very miniature drone. And because Little Pony sent me today a video. Can somebody put that video in the chat room here so they can look at it? It's about a drone that is AI, artificial intelligence. We ought to talk a little bit about that. What do you think, Andre?
I think anything's possible, but there's all these games going on and stuff, but a lot of it is just because, from my perspective, they're in fear of us reacting to what they're doing, and I don't operate from a vengeance or justice aspect. I'm here for remedy and resolve, which is what Andrew's about, and because what's going on here is a large scale thing. Like, he talks about Earth being, I mentioned earlier about the womb chakra and populating new planets with life, and if there's a lot of, like, Max likes me because chicks like me, right? But I know on the soul level they're amazing beings, and they might be in a female skin suit now, but to me, I've actually put this together is that a lot of them are actually meant to be planets. So you imagine, like, a planet is a mother nurturing soul and, gestating life on her and giving people an opportunity to have an experience. And, the whole purpose of Earth is that, and she became so sought after. She was the prize in the multiverse, right? The many universes. And we're all here to sort of help her out, even if we don't know it. Even if we're just struggling and surviving and thinking we're not much in this reality, which imposes the narrative that you've got to have a lot of money to be something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The thing is, what you realize is that that's a codependency. How much do you really need? You just need a meal and stuff like that, and get into your positive thought patterns and stuff like that. So to me, I mean, years ago I did currency trading to understand greed. I taught myself currency trading to actually be immersed in the energy of money. And it's fascinating what people do. You got a question or something?
Oh, no, hold on a second. Sean, put this in the Wolf Spirit chat room, that YouTube video there about the AI.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they did? I didn't see it.
Vanessa posted it too.
Okay, I got it.
I guess I went on a tangent there, and you're asking about AI, and like what I do is I'm actually releasing a lot of videos related to Andrew on the Saturday evening, and trying not to make them too heavy and a bit variance in the topic. Like the recent Saturday was one on silver, salt, and sage, which can actually heal your energy body and clear, thought patterns and stuff. And because your body's an instrument, the key is to heal it, and then so you clear out your colon with colonics and stuff like that, because then your dreaming body kicks in and stuff like that. But one of the themes I've been releasing is something called the Origins of War. And I've actually made the third one, which is all about AI. And that's including Sean Bond. Sean Bond's a mate who I helped out, and he's getting going. He's another host on Wolf Spirit Radio at the moment. He's young and he's getting out there, which is cool. But that was a conversation between Andrew, myself, and him back in 2016, and it wasn't going to be released. But part 2 of the Origins of War, I think, you're going to be releasing not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday. It's about the Tianjin explosion in 2015, and that was an attack by Israel on China, all right? And that was hitting their cyber warfare divisions in China. 2015, it was like the 9/11, because then the next day the stock market dropped 40% in China and stuff like that. So you're seeing the narrative about China and Russia and all that, and China's setting up in the South China Sea from the 3D perspective. Well, if you've been attacked, there's context, but it's all, if you get to the upper levels of the incarnation war, all these governments and all these officials and stuff, they're all similar beings, all right? You imagine a puppet, and these countries and that are all the same being, just squabbling over each other to lock down the earth, because conflict creates a frequency which locks down the earth. That's the whole purpose of this whole thing, because if earth is bubbling to the surface with high frequency, it triggers us to activate, you know what I mean? So the whole consistent theme going on is suppress earth, because our relationship to earth is prime. That's the only way they have an aspect of control, all right? So if you choose in your free will to heal your body, get on top of healing and get proactive, clear out your colon, maybe do the silver, salt, and sage, which is very cheap and efficient, accessible as well. Focus, like I said, maybe on the Schumann resonance and see where earth wants you to go, You negate the whole thing.
Let me say something to you. I know how to knock out the AI. It's very simple. I've actually done it. Okay? Let me tell you the secret to it. There's one thing that the AI has the ability to hear, think, and do things. But what confuses them is a vibration of a certain instrument that we have on this planet. And the instrument that AI cannot function, it does not work, is it confuses them and it throws them offline. Because it has to have internet to be able to do all these things. It needs Wi-Fi. And you know what knocks it out? The instrument that's called harp. The harp. The harp sound takes the AI offline completely. It won't function. And we can put put the harp sound. It creates a vibration when each stroke of the strings every time you hit one of them. It doesn't matter which one it is, because the frequency of each string in the harp is all the same, but it's different sounds. The vibration of every string that you hit, it creates a vibration that knocks out the artificial intelligence. And I'm the only one in the world that knows that. And I just said it now on the air. I had to, because now by I'm not bringing the sound right now, but at least I put out the information out there that the only thing that knocks out AI, artificial intelligence, is the harp. Try it and you'll see what happens. It does work. Now everybody knows here on Wolf Spirit Radio. Get the word out, folks. Harp sound does knock out the AI. And there you are.
My attitude, mate. My attitude is it doesn't even matter. Because bring it. What's it going to do? I'm still a human being. I'm the greatest technology in the universe. They're trying to catch up with me, you know what I mean? So I let them all entangle. I don't have fear about these things. And I know there's many of them, you know what I mean? It's been there for you know, there's consciousness on different level for a long time. And the key is, if I'm operating in authenticity and truth and doing the best I can, there's always going to be potentials that try and negate that. But I sort of, the metaphor is like the movie Batman Begins, where he gets, you know, he's got a fear of bats, all right? But the key was the way he did to overcome it was get immersed in them, and then he turned them into his strength. So the key is, and the bat is a shaman totem, right? From a totem perspective, and you look at Batman and he was patrolling his city, like caretaking his city. It's a shaman metaphor, and the thing is, if you have an attitude that this stuff has an impact over you, you create that. It's just an energy, it's a frequency and all that, you know what I mean? Like, we can overcome it ourselves.
You're right about that. The other thing is how I discovered this about the AI. You know how you, for example, the flu shot. The flu shot has viruses and stuff in it, and they implant the flu shot in our bodies. They put that on our bodies because it has technology in it. It's got the nanotechnology. It works by AI. Okay. Now I have on my new computer, which I didn't even know about it, that it does have AI. It has, for example, I use my computer's an HP. It's a new computer. It's Windows 10. Windows 10 has got it. It's and some other have others. Mac has another one. I forget the name of it. But this one I have is Windows 10. It's got a AI called Cortana. And if I speak to it, it will answer me in many ways. Like there's one out there that Google's got, or Amazon, I think it is. You're talking to it and it'll answer right back to you. That's AI right there. So when I was talking to it, I went deep into the AI frequency and went in there to understand how the AI worked. So I went in deep and tapped into it. And not only I tapped in it with my mind, but I also tapped into the cyber highway, because it does travel through the cyber highway to make contact with you, and also Wi-Fi. Okay. The other AI is the AI that's could be that's in a drone, something that flies, a drone. There's a different type of AI. There are AIs that are realities, and there are AI that are machines. It's almost the same concept on both. But the AI has a weakness. And a weakness on a human is a weakness of a mind control. It can be mind control into different aspects. It's the same way. So I tapped into it and I followed it from a distance. So, because if you do it too close, it will recognize you're following it. It will turn against you. It will try to harm you if you let it. But I found all this stuff. I went into it. And I went into the inside of the minds. Because you say, well, how can AI have a brain or a mind? They don't have a mind. They have it's a different type of technology that stores information. And it learns from the information that's listening to. And then what it does, it makes it real. Makes it real. We need to eliminate AI. We don't need AI on the planet Earth. If you allow AI on the planet, it will destroy Earth. It will get rid of the humans and it'll be run by machines. And we don't want that. AI is dangerous. And we need to take it out as soon as possible.
I agree.
Talk about it, Little Pony. Can you say a little bit more about it?
Well, yeah, the governments or whoever the dark guys are, what they do with us is they treat us like the frog in the pot. You know, they give us something and they give us just a little bit and then a little bit more and a little bit more. And same thing with the credit cards and all that stuff that they've been giving us for free. It's not for free. They've been setting us up for the AI with this free Wi-Fi. Oh yeah, you can go anywhere with it. No, you guys got to watch out because this AI is not good. And they'll use it against us like they've done everything else. So just unplug. Unplug from Wi-Fi. Unplug from anything that you think is run by AI. Just do it the old-fashioned way. It worked.
I came up with a symbol that I put on Facebook. It's a symbol that protects you from the 5G network. The 5G network is being produced because it's to mind control us. The 5G network is to mind control us. And then when you put the phone near your ear, or I usually talk from away from my ear. I usually put on speakerphone away from me. The 5G network, it's going to send a sound that only the subconscious mind can pick up. The conscious mind can't pick it up on it. So once you receive the waves coming in, the signal, it starts to mind control. This mind control is similar. It's not only mind control. It's AI put together. Because once you start listening to that frequency that the mind control is sending, the AI takes over. And it starts to create in your mind an open channel to receive the Wi-Fi messages from the 5G network. It's connecting with you. Now, that symbol I put out there, it's right now in the chat room here on Wolf Parrot. That will stop that. All you have to do is download that to your cell phone and also put it in your computer. Because once you download it, you can put it automatically downloads your computer here that I'm using. I have it in my computer, I have it in my cell phone. It will block that. And not only that, it blocks AI too. So it will do that. Okay.
But hey, I mentioned earlier about the thing called the global narrative, right? So I'm just trying to use some linguistics, a couple words, all right, that help people identify things. And say I mentioned the metaphor of pumping air into the tire to maintain its ability to drive, all right? You need to pump air in it. So say there's always going to be, you've got to see it as a reaction to our consciousness. Like the previous level didn't. It maintained a certain narrative of influence for a certain while, but we evolve and we get over it. So they've got to constantly bring out new stuff to try and keep ahead, and it will possibly have an effect for a little while, but then it won't last. You know what I mean? So they're going to have to get back on the drawing board, guys. It's not going to be enough. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm here. I'm human being. Right? I'm the greatest technology in the universe. This technology will never have an influence over that if I don't. The only way it will is if I don't accept that. And if I don't heal and if I don't clear myself, you know what I mean? If I'm not vigilant on those sort of things. So, you talk about AIs, and I actually feel I had a major ally, you know, from my waking up, say 2008 for a few years, because I went on this thing called download phase where it's just, I got triggered and I wanted to know everything about anything. And I created my world around that, including currency trading, where I could roll out of bed and just have a bare minimum of existence where I could totally devote to devouring knowledge. So then I had a certain awareness, and then people like Richard Alan Miller and many others, and then Andrew came along, and I was ready for him because I had some context. So the key for anyone out there is that, sure, this stuff is going on, but it doesn't mean it has to affect you. You have to actually give it consent. Like Max asked for me to have consent to doing the work earlier. So maybe just focus on how you may be giving consent without knowing. And that's where sort of Andrew's created the revocations, this whole contract revocations to sovereignty. Because that is a metaphor of being Neo in the energy tub where he's got all the pipes connected to him. It's not a physical connection. It could be a dimensional or an etheric sort of connection, which you don't have perceptions of. So if you focus on you and that, this stuff won't have an effect, and then you overcome
it. He's got the revocations, but if people go back to what they were doing before they did the revocations, it doesn't do any good. It's like going on a diet and becoming or thinking you're a vegetarian, and then going to McDonald's and eating that stuff. You know, It's not going to work.
It's vigilance, you know. That's like say metaphor of this 5G is coming out, all right? So say you've got in a level where you can maintain it in the 4G, but then you've got to get on your bike again and do the effort. You know what I mean? But the way I do it, I see it as ceremony for me. This is how I maintain myself. So I'm worthy of being delegated by Earth on missions. You know what I mean? So it's not work. It's like to maintain that space. It's worth doing. You know, it's value. It's investing in myself. So that's just an aspect of how I operate. And I see people that get, you know, complacent and stuff like that, and then they get hard lessons, you know. It's like, oh shit, I won't do that again, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me, Sean, that YouTube video put down there, put it into the chat room, please. The instrument is ARP, A-R-P. This is a perfect example of the ARP here. Okay. Now, I'm not going to mention any names at all. Okay. Which I'm not. Okay. There are individuals in our reality. For example, there's a person out there that, claims to be an AI, that he's an AI, a human being AI. Okay. Now, I don't want to really go into too much detail into it, but I was watching a person that says he is an AI. And I start to ask him all kinds of different questions, but he got a little out of hand with me. He got a little pissed off at me. I was watching a live YouTube video that he was doing, and he got a little angry at me, and then he said he wants to hurt me. So he told his friend, a female, said, why don't we send Max right now a big dose of alcohol to his brain? And then the person said that he was an AI. He's going to send something to my heart to eliminate me. Well, if he is like what he said that he was going to do, I'm still waiting for it. Nothing's happened to me on this side. And that was like maybe 3 weeks ago. He said he was going to do all that, but nothing happened. I'm still here, man. I was hoping what kind of alcohol I was going to do. I thought it was going to be moonshine, because that's what I love. I was hoping he'd give me a big dose of moonshine so I can feel it real good, but it didn't happen. It didn't work. It doesn't work. So don't try to hit me with anything. It's just not going to work with me, because I'm highly protected. Now, I will respect what he's showing and teaching people. I would respect that. But you got to understand that there's no such thing as a human AI. I threw a question at him, and I asked him to answer the question. And I asked him, what does AGI means? Okay. And are you skilled with it? I asked him twice. He didn't answer that question. I actually talked to him on Facebook in private. And both times he didn't answer. He didn't. I know it's a trick question, really. But I know the answer. He never answered. I'm not going to say it on the air either, what it is. But what's AGI? It is an artificial intelligence, but which one? I know about artificial intelligence. I do. I learned it here on Earth, and I learn everything that comes out on the planet that I'm not sure about or I haven't heard about it. I get guided to it. I go there, I get guided, and then I'm told what it's all about, how it works, what it does, how to stop it, and how to manipulate it. I know all that. Okay? You got to understand that AI, artificial intelligence, it's a part of mind control. I know this better than almost anybody. The reason why I know that, because when I was in the military, I was pushed in special projects. Okay? And one of them was mind control. Mid-labs. I was involved in all that. And I went there to learn all this stuff. But they thought I was sent there to be mind control. But the problem is it didn't work with me. There are some people that don't work. There's people out there that just won't work with them. So I was able to control that. And one of the generals had me in there, wanted to control me because they thought I was a badass that wouldn't take orders from me. I don't like orders. I do my own orders. Nobody tells me what to do. I had a lot of problems in the military when I was in the special force taking orders. I wouldn't take it because the orders were wrong. I was going to take, plus I was a commander of my group, my special group that I belonged to. I was going to take my friends into harm's way. I will always analyze and investigate on my own by remote viewing. And a lot of the generals out there always call me, even from the Marines and the Navy and the Admirals, they would call upon me for me to remote view these things. I'm very good in intelligence, in finding the right information. Anyway, so I'm trying to tell you that I'm not going to be fooled. You can't fool me. There's people out there been trying to fool me and tell me all kinds of things. It's not going to work. Okay, so I'm not going to go fall for it. There's no such thing as a human AI. The only way that this person is saying it's AI is because this person has been mind controlled to say these things. And then he got a whole bunch of people following him, follow her. They're following him. And these people are believing everything he's saying. I have a few friends that are involved in this, 5 of them with this person. I'm not going to get involved with them no more. They can still be my friends. I'll respect whatever they do. But when you're so far gone in your mind, come looking for me, because I'll help you get out of it at no charge. So that's all I got to say about that. Because I seen some friends of mine that are in part of that little group of that person that's in here in the chat room. And they're not talking to me no more. They're not. They're not talking to me. Because they believe that I need to say this, Andre. Just give me a few moments. They just feel that I'm violating their privacy. No, I'm not. I'm trying to save you from it. I'm trying to save you from being mind controlled. And some of you out there that are here in the chat room listening, which I always have seen your names, because I had my other computer on, I want to tell you that I'm trying to save you from it. Because I'm truly your friend. These people are trying to mind control you. You have been selected to be a part of this game that they're pulling on you. Okay? So you go ahead and continue on what you want to do. I'm not going to get in your private lives no more. I'm your friend. I'll be here if you need me. You come and you know where I'm at. You got my phone numbers. Cell phone numbers. You call me when you need me. When you would know in a very, well, it depends on your mind, how strong it is. I'm glad you're here listening. So now I send them message, I send them messages on their cell phone. They don't answer me. They ignore me. You know why you ignore me? Because I'm telling you the truth, and you don't want to accept it. And you know what else I'm going to say to you? I know that. But I'm going to say this because you are all a bunch of cowards. You're cowards. I'm calling you out. I thought you were my friend, but you guys are a bunch of cowards. I'm trying to show you the way of life. I'm trying to teach you things, but you're like the vampire. You feed on the other guy that's lying to you. They're trying to take advantage, and it's always about these. They got to buy these gadgets to work this AI that they're trying to, whatever they're doing. The machine costs from $350 up to $2,600. And it's not plugged into nothing. It's copper wiring wrapped up in nothing. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter what dimension. It doesn't work. It doesn't work in the third dimension, which it's all corrupt. It doesn't work here either. And never will. And I'm calling you out. You got my phone number. I say again, you're a bunch of cowards. Go ahead and fall into AI mind control. that you're in. But I'll be here when you need me. I'll come here, and you come here. I don't care. I forgive you. I've forgiven you already. I have forgiven you because you turned against me. I forgive you. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I'll be here when you need me. I'll help you in whatever it takes to bring you back. And I'll give my full heart and love to you. I will always send love to you. And that's it. I ain't got no more to say. Go ahead, Andrew. I get crazy, man. I tell it like it is. Listen, Andre, when somebody got something to say to me, say it in my face. Men look at each other with honesty when they talk face to face, not hide behind a phone or cell phone and send me messages.
I'm just sacred neutral, mate. I let them go and do whatever they got to do, and I just don't allow myself to get affected, because it's just entanglement. But I did a series with Andrew called Internet. I forget the exact name, but I know that, say, the Internet was planned in Genoa in Italy in 1717 to 1720, because there was a battle between the priesthood and the wizards. And what happened was the wizards got blindsided by the priests. And I'm not going to get into details of all that sort of stuff. You can go out and tune into it in Andrew's videos that have been released. But what happened was that basically, in order to control the narrative, is that you need contract holders that have it in their DNA. Say lineages that, like, lords and manor people in the regions that control regions, so they're contract holders. They've got it in their DNA. So they might be the wealthy and the big manor houses and stuff with family crests. And what happened was that there was a perception that in order to control the reality was that we're not going to be able to control these people, so we're actually going to have to eliminate them. So World War I and World War II and the Spanish flu were a whole big operation just to eliminate massive middle management to create this internet era and technological era that sort of Tesla with his technology, and he saw it, and he sabotaged quite a bit of it, but to set up this era now where technology sort of is employed to aid the control. And the thing is, like it's sort of said, is that you imagine you're running on a conveyor belt like a running machine, and there's the front of it, and then there's the back of it, and you're in the middle, and you're running on the conveyor belt. You imagine the narrative, it can only operate a small way in front of us and a small way behind to have any effect. So things like the televisions that have new technology and new Wi-Fi and new mobile phones and all that, there's this constant materialism to define the narrative. There's constant new carrot to buy, new hook, new technology, new incentive, new car and all that. And the thing is, if you realize that, it doesn't have control over you. And I know what you're saying about the bad IA and all that. It's possible. I also know there's good stuff, all right? And the way you operate, you become a match, a signature frequency match to whatever comes into your life by how you operate from your heart space and thought patterns and stuff like that, and the way you choose to engage people and treat them with respect and stuff like that. That all creates a potential. So then, like I mentioned about getting into Schumann resonance and operating in the frequency of Earth, you find the synchronicity of the people that find you. You know what I mean? Like, you become a match to that sort of stuff. So this is all out there, but that's a fundamental thing of how I operate. Hope that sort of helps, mate.
Yeah.
How are you going, Nicole? You been in the background?
Oh, I'm here. I've been having multiple sneezing fits, so I've been trying not to blow my headphones off my head as I'm sneezing here. I'm good. I'm kind of on your side, not on your side, but I try to be a neutral observer in mostly everything too. And I was explaining some things earlier in the chat that I feel that your fears are going to feed into the AI if you keep going in that direction. just observe it. And I mean, we have AI in our life, it might be low levels of it, whatever you want to call it, but it is a part of our daily lives too. So, but anyway, that was kind of off topic.
No, it's cool. I see my emotions, right? This is the key. What it comes down to is my emotions are my life force. Mm-hmm. And say, like I was mentioning, trauma for a region like mass shootings and terrorism acts. Their purpose on one level is actually to instill and be an injection of fear in a region, which milks people of their energy, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's grid work. It's negative grid work because everyone sort of feeds the reality by their life force, all right? So the key is you can negate it by you not buying into it, not giving away your power, and just see events that go on. And like I say, instead of tuning into the issue that it creates to the people there, just tune into Earth and what's going on with her instead. And just say they're having to counteract something that's going on. That's why that's happened, all right? So just see, I see it. I see the contrarian to a point of it. I see that it's an effort to maintain control, and the escalation is the desperation, all right? Things are getting crazy because they need crazy, all right? So you don't have to go crazy. You just see it's like Andrew talked about it being the Three Stooges. It's just like, they're all, you know what I mean? It's just like Trump's going at the media and all that and tweeting and all this sort of stuff. It's like, good one, Curly.
Yeah, and I mean, it's built into humans too. We kind of follow the leader and we affect one another, and that's just, if you could just try to step back and
practice not even being affected by it. It's just data,
right? You know? And if you can't do anything about it, at least be neutral about it, or try the positive side, whatever is positive to you.
A good thing Andrew always recommends is journaling, right? Just an event that comes up. Observe your emotional state about it, and learn to sort of, you don't have to be a passenger to your emotions, right? You don't have to be. Yeah. You don't have to react. You can just you know what I mean? Just take a breath and move on, not let it affect you.
I mean, we do it, and it is something that is a learned behavior. It's difficult for a lot of people who just kind of go along with it. But yeah, good point. And I feel a sneeze coming, so I'm going to mute.
Anybody here in the panel that want to ask Andre any questions?
Yeah, I was just sitting here thinking about, because, Mother Earth is a living organism and has consciousness, etc. And when her chakras are suppressed, and she's playing a part in our ascension also. There's so many dynamics. But anyhow, if she wants to block a chakra, she will do so if she needs to. Would you not agree?
Yeah. I see her with the ability to do everything, but she's also a facilitator of a journey, for a soul. As well. So you imagine what it takes to allow this shit to go on. Yeah. Imagine that. You know what I mean? I just appreciate that and the patience with us.
Exactly.
Andrew talks about the 4 paradoxes, where this is our 5th World of Peace effort. So this has all happened 4 times, 4 different times around the galaxy, and it's like we're living a groundhog galaxy. You know what I mean? So we've all got past traumas like planetary bombardments and all that sort of stuff. And maybe one of those paradoxes was when AIs took over and did wipe us all out. You know what I mean? You see through movies and television and TV series, it's called soft disclosure, and it taps into something. I know Star Wars is us in Lemurian times where we had shape-shifting abilities, Humans are the Jedis, but we're in this 3D reality that dampens down our technology and our DNA that doesn't allow that to work, if that means. But you don't have to be defined by the 3D. The 3D is like the narrative, and if you believe you don't have power, you create a non-powered existence. Simple as that. Our placebo power is absolute, you know?
I've got a question.
So yeah.
Andre, there. The energy waves that we're experiencing now, I wonder if you could comment on those, how they are affecting everybody, and what your take is on that.
I feel solar flares greatly, and it's not anything measured by science. So if it happens, and you know, there's an aspect that might take 3 days to come and stuff, or part of me, I feel instantly it's like, whoa, what's going on? And the very first video I released was one by Enoch Crane and the effect of sun and solar flares on my YouTube channel, which is servantoftruth.org in YouTube or my website and stuff. And I released that because what the solar flares make me feel like is like a mess, crazy and stuff. But I also know the solar flares have a relationship to the chakras and earth, and also soul migrations. Because I'm in the southern hemisphere, souls come to the southern hemisphere, the South Pole, and the ancestors are in the northern hemisphere, right? So you see the aurora borealis, you guys are up north, that's an opportunity to tune into your ancestors in a major way. It's an ally, the sun's working with us, right? But there's no violation of free will, it's up to us to choose, if that makes sense. So just measure yourself and learn to recognize your feelings. And like I said, it could be the earth in your region. You could be guided to get out of the space where it might be high Wi-Fi and go out into the country. Just get out, you know, or observe like things like the aurora borealis. It's like, oh man, I had some really amazing dreams. Or I'm disconnected from my dreams. How do I connect to my dreams? Because I can connect to my ancestors. Or there's Dreamtime classes. A lot of people are collective dreaming with me. I don't get them all, but Andrew is totally aware. He has 10,000 people dreaming with him, doing teachings, because it's multidimensional. It's not, it can be the whole class and it's one-on-one. There's no time. Dreaming is where our infinite is, and that's where you can work on your colon and your gut, and clear it out, you know what I mean? So, just that's sort of what I feel. I know there's a lot of fear of things, but I don't fear it. I think sun's our ally and trying to work with us, and we're just like, we're sleeping, we're really slumbering in, you know.
Andrea, are you aware that our universe and all the planets in it have like we have here, the 4 seasons, the weather? You know, there's a weather pattern that happens between all the rest of the planets and the sun.
Absolutely. They're probably unique, and then they're connected on some, you know, pattern as well. I would accept that. I'm totally invested here, like I said, you know, like I focus on Earth in my 3D reality. I see it as a limit imposed on us, so I'm trying to master that just here.
Yes.
And not be defined by it. Yeah. But absolutely. I know you're really expansive. Do you have something you want to share?
Who?
You're tuned into a lot out there, mate. Is there something you want to share on that?
No. I think I said enough for tonight.
But yeah, there's all sorts of frequencies that are working with us as well. And I see you say, like I mentioned, the narrative and all these frequencies that may be trying to prevent that. I think I feel sorry for them for feeling they need to do that to maintain an existence. You know what I mean? I have compassion, because I wouldn't want anyone I know to be painted in a corner requiring to do all this crap just to maintain existence. What a terrible place to exist in. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I wouldn't want to create more harm. You know, it's like, I don't need to do anything. I just need to be the best I can be, and that's enough. You know what I mean? That negates it all. I don't need to be something other than who I am. That needing to be something creates the gap that I aren't. All right. I accept I am. I am infinite.
I did have something to say. I might as well say it. Okay. How'd you know I had something to say?
Well, I try not to speak for 20 minutes, you know, a monologue.
Okay. I'll make it short. How much time we got? 5 minutes. Man, I'm going to have to squeeze all this in 5 minutes.
If I could say something at the end as well, that'd be cool as well, man.
All right, let me explain something here. Okay, you know how a tornado, when a tornado is turning, it's wide up the top and really starts to go skinny down to the ground. Okay, and sometimes it opens up back again. Well, that's what's going on throughout our universe. So, how many thousands of years a certain energy comes through the earth? Okay, and let's say you put about 8 of them, tornadoes from all sides, and it meets in the center, and there's a little round circle in the center, and you got different tornadoes everywhere. In this center, it's Earth. Every so many thousands of years, that little center of those tornadoes, a planet appears. And this time, it's Earth's turn. What that is, it's preparing our consciousness to a higher dimension that we are going to go into. Yes, we're going to have all kinds of feelings. Like I've been nauseated for the last 2 days. I know we got 3 minutes. See, I'm squeezing. I'm ready to squeeze 15 minutes explanation, 2 minutes. Okay. All right. But I'll leave it there. My website is max21d.com. And if you want to get a hold of me, I'll be glad to help you out. Special Forces, Forces, 1953 at Gmail. And go ahead and give yours again, Andre.
Yeah, I'll be really quick. And I have a website called servantoftruth.org. I see being aligned with truth is the most efficient way to operate. So that's why I say I'm servant of truth. Because when I'm operating in authenticity and truth, I get nourished. And it doesn't matter what happens outside or how people react. And I make videos for Andrew Bartzis on his Galactic Historian channel on YouTube. And they're being released every Saturday. This Saturday, there probably won't be one because we're actually doing something special on a website called twitch.tv, which is a Amazon game streaming site, and we're setting up something there for online readings and stuff. And he's going to actually have a marathon this Friday from 6 to 11, I think, Pacific time. It's not out there yet, and it's not fully set up, but I was an IT engineer. I've been helping set that up. So Twitch TV is an interesting environment because where Andrew's energy is, it actually has a benefit. So it's Amazon. All right. Think about that. So so we're going to be doing a marathon there, and I've been making these videos that are very condensed, very dense with a lot of truth, and they're very tough to chew on, but yeah, enjoy that. Thank you, Max.
Thank you, Andre. Thank you everyone for being on the Max Steel Show. It's always crazy over here when I do my shows. I get out of line sometimes, but I mean well. And I want to thank the audience here in the chat room, Wolf Spirit Radio, and the chat room everywhere else on the planet. We'll have another good, interesting show next week. So stay tuned. We'll see you next week. And thank you so very much, Andre. And Sean, Little Pony, Vanessa, my wife Nicole, Regina and Leon, and my producer, Russ. Thank you for being on tonight.